Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. I am going to be doing a video today talking all about Disney's DAS Pass. This is the Disability Access Service Pass provided to guests who have, disabilities. Could range from physical disabilities to autism, Down syndrome, etc. It does cover a wide variety of different situations. So we just went to Disney World in August of this year, and we did use the DAS Pass, as well as in our previous trip in 2019. I thought it would be helpful to sit down, tell you exactly what it is, how to get one, and also, maybe if I have time, maybe at the end, a little tips for taking your child with autism to a theme park. So let me just give you some background in case you are new here. My name is Joanne. I have twin boys. They are 10 years old. Michael has autism and is nonverbal and does have a lot of sensory issues. And for this particular reason is why we request a DAS Pass. So there is a couple of ways that you can go ahead and get a DAS Pass, and I have some notes down here, so if I'm looking down, that is why. But you can do it two ways. You can register for the pass before you go, or you could do it at the parks, at guest services, if you prefer to. This was not available in 2019. You were not able to do it ahead of time. We had to wait till we got to the park and go to guest services, and it was a little bit of a time. It did take a little bit of time to access the pass and have everyone in our party placed on the pass as well. So what you do is you can register now 30 days in advance. You're going to go online and you're going to chat with a cast member and basically just provide information. You don't have to provide the diagnosis or the physical disability. You do need to provide, why you need the DAS Pass. What is the reasons? And simply for us, Michael would not have the patience or the ability, I don't want to say patience, it's really his autism, to be able to stand in line and wait for your ride, excuse me, or to get into an attraction. So because of that, that is one of the reasons. Another reason is Michael can become overwhelmed in crowded situations, like waiting on a line, being surrounded by a lot of people, a lot of noise, a lot of distractions. Sometimes, I don't know, maybe in some of my previous videos, even in some of our Disney videos, you may notice Michael putting his hands over his ear. And that is really, a sensory issue for him. So I explained to the cast member that these are some of the reasons. It's also a relief for me and my husband to have this pass, and the family that is traveling with us. It is so hard if you have a child with autism who is overwhelmed, overstimulated, and then waiting in line for a ride, maybe, 20, half hour, sometimes longer, obviously. And then the child becomes, aggressive, excuse me again, which can happen, total meltdown, a little bit different than your normal, I don't want to say normal, a typical child, neurotypical child's meltdown. So to have this disability access service is just a huge relief for us. So let me get back to the registration. So you're going to be chatting with a cast member, and that you can actually, you had to register. No, let me backtrack that. I'm losing my train of thought here. Once you register, you will have a 2-hour window to book select experiences using the DAS Advanced Planning option. You'll also be able to make selections the day of your visit. So what that basically means is once you've accessed you registered for the DAS pass, they will need a picture of the person who has the disability. So in our case, Michael was able to jump in on the chat. She was able to get a picture. That was a little tricky, getting him to stand still, but we did it. And then what you're also able to do is add up to 6 members of your family that you are traveling with to also be attached to his DAS pass. So for us, it was perfect because it was obviously me and my husband, my son Alex, and my sister and my brother-in-law. So we are all able to access rides, return times for rides and attractions all at the same time. So that was very helpful. And, you know, a great thing to have, you know, when you're traveling with large families. So, so once they take your picture and you're registered, you are able to pick up to 2 attractions per park that you're visiting to automatically set up a time for return. So I'm trying to think. I know like for Animal Kingdom, we weren't able to get the safari. They did have a time available, but it was late in the evening. I'm so sorry. Late in the afternoon, when I knew that we probably already starting to head home at that point. We weren't there for the entire week, and we only visited Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. So we weren't able to secure that time for the safari. Disappointing, yes, but of course, when you get there, once you start using your DAS passes, you're able to add another one on. It's very similar, if I remember correctly. It's been a while with the fast passes, but I think it's pretty much the same thing. So for the Animal Kingdom, I think I think it was the bird show. I can't remember the feathers, Friends of Feather, something like that, that we were able to secure ahead of time. And there was something else. Oh, the Lion King show, which honestly, we didn't even get to. We actually ended up changing our DAS pass when we got there. But, so you're able to access 2 ahead of time before you even get to the parks. And then the day of arriving at that park, once you start using those passes, you can go ahead and reserve another time. And it'll give you a time to return, and you have an hour. So if your return time is 1 o'clock, you have from 1 to 2 within that hour to get over to that ride, to be able to ride it, or the attraction, you know, whatever it is. You have an hour window to play with. So, and that is the same for every park. We, at Magic Kingdom, I can't even remember what we had. It's terrible. It was only August, but the same thing. It works the same way. You go ahead, you get your reservation ahead of time before you leave. You pick out 2 rides, 2 attractions. The day you get there, once you use those, you can go ahead and add more attractions to it. I will tell you this, for getting to register for the DAS, it was easier in some ways doing it ahead of time than it is doing it at the park. One thing is because you already have a couple attractions or rides that you already have times to return to. So it makes it helpful in planning your day. The second thing is when you go to register online, prepare yourself to have to wait in a virtual queue until a cast member returns. It does take quite a while. I had to play around with it, do it a few times. One time I was waiting for 2 hours. It's kind of hard to tell that you're in the queue. That's another thing. You know, you're not really sure, you know, if you registered the correct way. So I did it a few times until I was able to really sit and concentrate on what I was doing, because I was doing it like, you know, oh, let me sit down and try to get that DAS pass. And, you know, and then I have, you know, loads of laundry in, you know, and you have to get up and move. Unless you could take your laptop with you, which I wasn't using, you know, you have to really stay and be present. So just allow yourself some time to get through the registration process. But once you do, that is it. Another thing I want to note is that you may go to your My Disney app on your phone looking for the pass before you even get to the parks. It will not show up until you arrive at that park. Or maybe it was the day of, I don't remember. But so don't panic if you don't see it there. It will be there. And, you know, it's very easy to use, extremely easy. They're going to give you a list of rides and attractions, and you're just simply going to pick based on the time, you know, which one you think you want to do for that day. And that's pretty much how it works. So I know there's a lot of, you know, a little controversy around the need for the DAS pass, but I am telling you, as a autism mom, this is a tremendous help for our family. It's hard to understand unless you are really in it, really experiencing it, but this does save us so much grief and really helps us enjoy you know, all the parks and what it has to offer. And, you know, you spend a lot of money going to Disney World, and you want to be able to, you know, enjoy all of the experiences, no matter, you know, who or, you know, what disability you have. So, so that is how you access the DAS pass. I don't think I left anything out. I'm just checking my my notes. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Also, I know I mentioned that I was going to try to give you some tips of handling a day at the park, and especially in extreme heat. I have to say, I visit Walt Disney World, you know, as a teenager, as a young girl, in July. Mostly we went in July. And yeah, it was hot, and at that time, you know, there were no fast passes, there wasn't any of that. But, you know, this year in August we went. It was really way too hot. And I have to say I'm really proud of my boys, because they both really managed better than us adults, if I have to be honest. So that was a good thing. But I wanted to share how we prepare Michael for the parks. And so we have noticed, or I have noticed, I should say, I realized this past summer that Michael actually, I don't want to say it this way, but I don't know how else to say it, understands a lot more of what's going on than I give him credit for. And so in 2019, when we went to Disney, Michael's home ABA therapist started preparing him for the parks. And we did exactly the same way we did then. And one of the things that I can recommend, I would definitely recommend having your child sit down and watch some Disney vlogs. Maybe pick a few of the rides. There's a lot of point of view rides on YouTube here. There are a lot of families that vlog their vacations in Disney World. Have them sit down and really watch them. This way they have an idea and they know what to expect when they get there. It's not new or strange or, you know, maybe even scary, because, you know, I often wonder, you know, sometimes, you know, when Michael gets on rides, is he scared of anything? He doesn't seem like it, but, you know, I can't help but wonder. So we did that in 2019. We did it again this year. Just really, this year we just focused on Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, because we knew that those were the two parks that we would be visiting. And really, I just, you know, the therapist worked with him. I would put on, you know, a YouTube video for him and say, we're going to Disney World in a few weeks and you're going to see this and we're going to go on this ride. And then if there was any snacks or food, I would say, Michael, you want to try the Mickey ice cream bar? And of course he says yes. And the pretzels. And, you know, I just point things out and try to get him to somewhat acknowledge what I'm showing him in his way. You know, every child is different. You may have an autistic child that can talk, and that would probably be even better for you, so you can have a conversation about what to expect at Disney World. Also, walking. It's a lot of walking. In 2019, my boys were 7 years old. So at that point, when we visited, they were 7. At that point, we decided to go ahead and rent a stroller. Now, I know you're even probably, if you're maybe confused, a 7-year-old in a stroller. I was given that advice by somebody with neurotypical children. And at first I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna put him in a stroller. He's kind of big for that, you know. But I will tell you that Alex used a stroller more than Michael did, because it's a lot of walking. You are walking, you know what, 18, 20,000 steps in a day. So I would definitely say, if you have a child, I don't know, I don't want to give a cut-off age, because you know your children and what they can handle and what they can't. So toddler, definitely a toddler if you have a toddler with a disability. You know, unless you're using a wheelchair, of course you will have that. I would highly recommend renting a stroller. We used a company called Kingdom Strollers, and I'm going to be honest with you, they were the best. And I'll leave a link below so you can go and check them out. They will drop it off at your rental home, at your resort, and they will pick it up at the end of your trip from your resort or your rental home. And they have all different kinds. They have double strollers. They do have a stroller for disabilities. They also have wheelchair rentals, but they provide, you know, a very good service, a service that is needed. I've seen the strollers in Disney World. They do not look comfortable at all, but I highly recommend taking a stroller or reserving a stroller with you. That was probably one of the best things we did in 2019. This year, we did not need the stroller. They did all the walking pretty good. Like I said, they held up better than the adults. So I'm happy about that. So besides the stroller and preparing them with YouTube videos, I think you may want to just also show pictures of the resort if you are staying in the resort. Alex did not want to see our resort this year before we left. He wanted to be surprised, which is fine. But for Michael, again, I like him to know ahead of time, you know, what he is going to see, where he's going. I want him to be comfortable and feel safe. So I have a friend, also another friend who has a YouTube channel, Meddling World, and they went ahead and did a tour of the All-Star Resorts, and I will link that video down below as well. But this way, I was able to sit and show Michael, this is where we're going. We're going to stay here. We're going to use this pool. It's going to be so much fun. It's called All-Star. Just enough information where I think, you know, he's able to understand. So I think that those are the best ways of preparing your child. And I think it could work, of course, for neurotypical kids. You know, Alex always likes to be surprised. He doesn't want to know anything ahead of time. So for him, you know, it's, you know, he sees it when he gets there. But, you know, for Michael, it does take a little bit extra planning and extra time. I could do a whole video on road trips. We've been driving with the boys since they were 2 years old. And if that is something you'd like to see, you know, maybe helpful hints for driving with, you know, an autism, a child with autism, you know, just leave it in the comments below. I'd be happy to share that information with you as well. So I hope that this information has been helpful. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, reach out. You can email me, send me a DM on social media. I am always willing to help in any way that I can. It could be a stressful situation for families, you know, that have children with disabilities. And I always want to encourage you not to stop yourself from going because of it. Disney World in 2019 as well as this year have been wonderful experiences for our family. It's an expensive one, and you want to have a fantastic trip. I mean, you don't want anything to go wrong. Do a little of these things beforehand, and I'm sure that, you know, it's going to work out fine. At least it did for us, and I'm hoping the best for all of you as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you, again, you can leave comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you would like to see more about autism and road trips, please let me know. And thank you so much for watching today. If you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It really helps me and my channel out. I really want to see it grow and be able to share more with you. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.